Today's notes are 7.5, Properties of Logarithms. Let's go over this chart. The first property is the product property. So if you're multiplying m and n, you can separate it into addition and two logs. Quotient property, if you're dividing m by n, you can also separate it, but this time you use subtraction. Power property says that you can put that power in front of the log. Change of base formula. So if you have log base c of a, you can change the base to log 10, and this is helpful because you will be able to put it in your calculator. Now you no longer have to solve for log by hand. You can just use the change of base formula, and this is log base 10, and you can put them in the calculator. You can also change it to natural log a over natural log c. This is also, you can put this straight into your calculator. So once again, this side right here, you can't put it in the calculator, but if you change the base, you change it to log base 10, you do it this way, this you can put it in the calculator, you change this to natural log, and this you can put it in the calculator. So let's practice using some of those properties. It says in exercises 1 through 4, use log base 2, 5 equals approximately 2.322, and log base 2, 12 is approximately 3.585 to evaluate the logarithm. So first we need to determine what property to use. So log base 2, 1 over 144, that looks like the quotient property. So let's go ahead and try and change that to the quotient. First thing I want you to do is label m and n. So you see m is the one at the top, so m is 1. N is the one at the bottom, so n equals 144. Now plug in and rewrite it like this. Okay, now that we've split it up, let's check to see if we have any of these. So log base 2 of 1, no. Log 2, 144, no. But we can change log base 2 of 144 into log base 2 of 12 times 12, right? Now that we've changed it, you should notice that that is the product property. So let's split that part. Now we know what log base 2 of 12 is, because that's given. But we need to figure out what log base 2 of 1 is. So let's solve for that. So remember, to solve for it, we need to change the format. The base is 2, we don't know what x is, and then equals y. Y is 1, right? So remember, anything to the power of 0 gives us 1. So log base 2 of 1 equals 0. Now let's plug everything in. So log base 2 of 1 is 0. This is 3.585. So it's 0 minus 3.585 plus 3.585, and that is equal to negative 7.17. Make sure you try number 1 on your own. Now I'm going to do number 3. Number 3 also looks like the quotient rule, so let's rewrite that. Now let's look at the values we're given. We have log base 2, 12. We don't have that. Oh, yeah, we do. It's right here. And then we have log 2 of 25. And we don't have log base 2 of 25, but we have log base 2 of 5. So let's rewrite this. Now that you have rewritten it, you can see that this is the product property. So let's rewrite it again. Now we can replace the logs with the actual values. So let's do that. Now you can just put this in the calculator. you should get negative 1.059. Make sure you try number 4 and number 1 on your own. For those, you're going to have to use the product property, and that's about it. For exercises 5 through 8, they want us to expand the logarithmic expressions. It's almost what we did up there, but this time they want us to expand it as much as we can. So let's start with number 7. Make sure you try 5 and 6 on your own. Number 7 looks like the quotient property, so let's rewrite it. If you look at the first part, this should look like the power property, which says to bring the exponent down to the front, and that's it. So let's do that. Here it looks like we have the product property, so that means we need to change this to 2 additions. Now you go through it and see if we're missing anything. Okay, here we have a power property, so let's go ahead and rewrite that. And that's it. There's no other way that we can split this. Let's move on to number 8. There is no properties for radicals, so first we need to rewrite this to a power, and you should know how to do that. Remember, just change that to a fraction. So the 4th root is the same thing as 1 over 4. Now let's try and simplify this by distributing the 1/4 to each base. Okay, and this is something that you should be able to work with. So this looks like the product property, right? Now you should see the power property on both of these. So the power property just tells you to put the power in the front of the logs. And this is the answer. We're done. Okay, for number 9 through 13, it tells us to condense the logarithm. You're trying number 9 through 11. I'm going to start with 12 and 13. So first part is this looks like the quotient property. The next part we can use the power property. You can simplify this by just looking at it. Put it in the calculator, 625 divided by 125, that should give you 5. We can also simplify 27 to the 1/3. That should give you 3. Now we have the product property. Log base 2, 5 times 3 is the same thing as log base 2, 15. So here goes our answer. Now let's try number 13. So this first part we have negative log base 6 of 6. So remember, minus means quotient property, but since we have nothing in front of it, we're going to assume a 1. Next part that I see is a power property over here. Okay, now we see a quotient property. So let's combine those. Okay, so it should be 1 over 6 over 2y. That's the same thing as 1 over 6 times 1 over 2y, which would be 1 over 12y. Let's distribute this power to the 3 and to the x. Next thing I see is the product property. So if you multiply 1 over 12y times 9x squared, you'll get 9x squared over 12y. You can simplify that by dividing both the top and the bottom by 3. We'll get 9 divided by 3 is 3, 12 divided by 3 is 4. This last part is super easy. Change of base formula. Okay, so the big number is going to go at the top, and the little base is going to go at the bottom. And then you put this in the calculator, and you should get negative 0.417. Now once again, the big number goes at the top, the little base goes at the bottom. Put this in the calculator, you should get negative 1.285. Make sure to go back and try the U-tries, and that's it for today's notes.